Today we're going to be talking about the top 5 things that you must do to self-publish your book on Amazon and KDP, so stay tuned. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It is a very windy, blustery day outside. Some very forceful gusts of wind, so if that comes across on the video, I'm sorry. Look at me apologizing for the wind. Anyway, like I said in my last video, this is a no BS type of video platform. And we're going to start off with the very basics right now before we get into the more complicated stuff. Like I said, this is the top 5 things that you must do in order to publish your book on KDP and Amazon. Well, the first one that you have to do, you must write the book. If you don't have a book, you can't publish anything, so you must get that done. On that part, I really have no advice. Everybody has their own quirks, their little needs that they need in order to get inspired, in order to get that done. The only thing I can say is just stick with it. It may take a long time before that first manuscript is written, but when it is, it's going to be pretty rough, which that leads me into the second thing you need to do. Unfortunately, you're going to have to write a second draft, and you may even have to write a third draft. There are things like NaNoWriMo that gets you to write 50,000 words in 1 month and complete a novel in 1 month. But everybody's rough draft. I don't care who you are, even if you're Stephen King, that rough draft sucks. Mine does, for sure. And it's not until you really get into the second draft that you really start understanding your characters, some of the language that you use. Some of it's really wordy, so you're going to have to cut some of those words out to make it flow easy. And I learned a long time ago, it's our job as authors to take whatever story that's inside our head and make it as easy and simple as you can make it for people, the readers, to understand what it is you're talking about. So instead of having wordy and lengthy stories, just kind of really need to cut out the fat and zero in on what it is that you're talking about. And then that brings us to our third thing that you must do. And I highly suggest that if you really want to be serious about publishing your work, you need to hire an editor. There are many ways you can hire an editor. You can go online and look for services. You can go through a company, you can go through a freelancer, and there are different types of editors out there, and they all have a different role to play. We'll go more into that in another video, but I'll just give you the gist of it. You have your line editor or copy editor, and all they do is just go through your manuscript line by line and fixing typos, grammar mistakes, run-on sentences, punctuations, that sort of thing. But there's also another type of editor, which is called a developmental editor. And these editors will go through your manuscript, and they're not so much worried about grammatical errors. Some of them will fix them if they see them, but their main focus is looking for continuity issues, plot holes. Does the overall story arc flow well and make sense? If you have a character who has long red hair at the beginning of the book, but by the end of the book you forgot what color hair they had, and they have blonde hair by the end of it without any explanation of how they got blonde hair, then that's what you call a continuity issue. Our job as self-published authors is to try to get rid of that as much as possible, because that really looks amateur. And that sets a bad name for all the other self-published authors out there. And once you send it off to your editor, most of them, I say 99.9% of them, do it all digitally these days. And you will send it in with Microsoft Word or Scrivener or some kind of word processor like that. And with Microsoft Word, it actually has a thing called tracked changes up in the ribbon, up in the top part of the word processor, where you click on it and you can see all edits and corrections that the editor made, and you can go through it and you can either accept the correction or reject the correction. If you accept it, it automatically changes it for you, or you can choose to accept all. But if I were you, I would definitely just go through it again and accept them, and you may need to reject some. And once that is all done, I would definitely give it one final read through, because even then, your editor can make some mistakes as well. With all that said and done, that brings us on to our fourth thing that you must do, and that is interior design. You need to format your book. And there's ways you can go about this. There are YouTube videos. If you want to do it yourself, you can do that. You can hire somebody to do it. But you need to make sure that the margins are correct. You need to make sure that the headers all fit the same style, the chapters, page numbers, and just really make it look pretty, make it look concise, and make it look as professional as you possibly can. Sorry, there's kids next door and they are so loud, and their dog, and they shouldn't even be out right now. It's so cold and windy, but they're running around without their shirts and shoes and stuff. But anyway, let's get back on topic. So on to the fifth thing that you must do, and that's create a book cover. And I suggest that you find somebody to professionally make this for you. And you can do that on places like Fiverr.com. And there's countless of artists on there that that's what they do. They create book covers. And I've tried to make a few myself, but I realize now that I need to go back through and have a professional make their own covers, because they know what they're doing. And the whole purpose in a book cover is to sell your book. It's not so much about what's on the inside of your book, because they will never know what's on the inside of your book unless they pick up the book. And the only way they can pick up the book is if they think that cover looks appealing to them. So you really need to figure out what genre that you're writing in. I would even suggest going on Amazon and looking up at the top 5 books that have sold recently in your genre, and look at their covers. Look at the color scheme. Look what's on the front. Is there a woman with long flowing hair and a flowing dress? Is it an up close face shot? Is it only a half of a face? Is there no face at all? Because you really need to be on your toes about what's trending this year. And the last thing that you'll need to do is upload your manuscript and your book cover to KDP, or Kindle Direct Publishing, on Amazon. Once you do that, that goes into a whole new video. Anyway, guys, that'll do it for today. Thank you for coming to my channel. And if you are interested in any of the books that I'm writing, just go to www.wardhousepress.com and check out my books there. And until next time, everybody, stay strong and write on. See ya.